Welcome back, everybody, after a couple days off here from the semifinals of the World Cup. I'm Nolan Kelly, back with Jovanni Vidal, the man behind our soccer projections here at Stokastic. We are going to be breaking down the World Cup semifinals. Also, I'm going to be talking a little bit less than usual. Maybe I just got back from the dentist and my mouth is a little frozen here. So if you see me drooling down the side of my chin, don't stress yourself out. Jovanni, what's going on? We had some upsets over the weekend, but some good games still remain.
Yeah, it's France just continues their Cinderella fairy tale.
From France?
Yeah, they're what were they to start the tournament? Like a plus 8,000. It was good value, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, Greg Ehrenberg, one of our guys on OddsShopper DFS, you're probably familiar with him. He has like a $50 ticket on Morocco, and he wins like $12,000 if they win or something like that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but fingers crossed for him. Let's just quickly shout out before we get into it. Shout out our sponsor, No House Advantage. $50 deposit bonus for you if you use the link below or in the pinned comment section. They have Versus the House going right now. It's really growing in popularity, so you want to get in on it. You can get 21 times your money back if you put 6 picks into a card. Over-unders for shots on target, for passes. It's a great way to experience the World Cup, especially if you're not in a betting legal state. Loads of overlay in their fantasy contest as well. So make sure to check all that out. All right, well, let's get into this slate here. Why don't you just break down your first impressions of the pricing? What we're going to do today, by the way, is just go through the 2-game slate, and we'll just do each game. We'll talk about Showdown after. Showdown's probably going to be the bigger contest for each one, but we'll cover everything essentially. So yeah, first impressions of the pricing of the slate. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean it's a 2-gamer across the 2 different days. I think the pricing is pretty accurate. It has, I believe, it was Messi and Mbappe at the top. I do think there's Antoine Griezmann that's mispriced a little bit as far as his matchup, but overall, I think it's gonna be Argentina and France at advance. But there's really good value to choose from the Croatian side and from Morocco's side, and we'll get into that.
Sounds good. Well, let's break it down first with the Argentina game. Argentina playing the first one tomorrow at, I think it's 2:00 Eastern time. I get my time zones mixed up easily here. Argentina minus 115 favorites. Croatia plus 370. I'm a little bit surprised at that line. I think of this game as a toss-up, just kind of mentally, but maybe I'm just way off base with that. So let's get into this Croatia side first. Mateo Kovacic, 2.48, one of the better values on the slate, 3,300. I think it may be the best value on the slate at that price point. Luka Modric, 6,100. He's playing a lot and is going to have a really guaranteed safe floor. Juranovic as well, solid floor. And Perisic, 6,400. Borna Sosa, just a lot of the usual suspects that we've seen so far. What are you doing with this Croatian side?
Yeah, I mean the one interesting side is when the money lines opened. Argentina was like a minus 140 or minus 138 around some spots, and now it's the Croatian side is taking some heavy bets in because obviously it's coming more to a pick 'em. But for DFS, the Croatian side, I would expect a lot of people to have like 2-man and 3-man stacks of it. In particular, Jovanovic, the keeper, just because he is going to see the shot volume, and Argentina they haven't really like pounced on any team, right? They haven't been scoring like 3+ goals, with the exception of Messi getting some penalties and having some really good shots, which actually weren't high danger chances.
Just cut out there, Jovanni. Sorry, can you start that again? Just from the 3-man stack portion of what you were saying.
Yeah, 3-man stack from Croatia, I think is very valuable in GPPs. It helps you from a price point pay up for even one-offs back from the same game in for Messi, and then some pay up spots for what I think is going to be high scoring DFS wise France side. But I like Kovacic, I think, is way mispriced because he hasn't he does enough like offensively and defensively in the midfield as far as one tackles, drawn fouls, and created chances that I don't think he should be min priced. We were getting him at like 4,000 to 4,500 range, and I think that would have been the right price for him. And the odds don't imply that they're going to get blown out. But so I think I definitely like Kovacic, and I think he will come in high owned just because his price is so low. Borna Sosa, his price hasn't dipped, so it's going to be a little harder to get to. But I think that makes him a good contrarian play in GPPs because he is in a matchup where at least he'll be able to get his offense. He's based more on his offensive volume with crossing and stuff. But Jovanovic is going to be high owned, and I think he has the highest floor outside of Luka Modric for the Croatian side. And anything defensive wise or offensively, he can score in different ways. So it's hard to get away from him, and his price tag is way too low in my opinion.
What about some of these forwards here, Kramaric, Petkovic? They're getting like it's really hard for them to meet value, but their price points have declined, and they're getting almost no ownership in GPPs. At that price point, there are they worth like a shot in some lineups? You hope one of them scores, maybe gives you 15 points. It's a low scoring slate. That seems like that's the only path to profitability for them to pay off value, right?
Yeah, I mean, or even if they get two shots, 2 to 3 shots, and one of them's on target, that might be enough because how low their price is, it helps you. It'll give up the forward spot, but if you look, like Mbappe, Griezmann, uh, I'm not sure if Messi still is, but they're midfield also eligible, and on DraftKings you have the utility spot, so it lets you pay up for like a Jovanovic mixture with like Theo Hernandez, and that can get you enough of a floor with upside in the 10 to 12 range of DraftKings points, where punting in that forward spot, it might not be a hit or miss. It might be they just need to do enough, as if you the contrarian. I mean, the downside to that or the counter to that is people usually punt the defender spot, but punting the forward spot with this many players with upside being forward, midfield, and utility eligible, that could be just a way to get different, and you still score enough because you have those core pieces of players that do go off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that strategy is definitely viable, especially in large field GPPs. Another guy as well you might want to think about paying down for is Yasko. Don't call me Pep Guardiola, 2600. If it allows you, if you go with him and the Moroccan defender Atiatala, I think his name is. He's really cheap on the slate. Those two, along with one of the cheaper goalies, allow you to pay up for Messi, Griezmann, and Mbappe if that's the route you want to take. So, him or another defender, I guess. Let's move it on over to the Argentinian side here. We got Lionel Messi, $12,000, 19 points. Not a great value, but I'm assuming just because of the playing time, he's going to feature heavily in your lineup. Enzo Fernandez, Alex McAllister, Angel Di Maria, who came in, I think he's nursing a sore groin, came in towards the very, very end of that game, 12.76 points. Looks like you have him starting. Now, Julian Alvarez, 7,300. So let's talk about Lionel Messi. Are you going to be pressing the lock button on him at that price, or are you going to be mixing and matching with Mbappe?
Yes, I am, and because there is two players, or 2 to 3 players that I think are massively underpriced, and like they're min price, so you can still fit Messi with Mbappe or Messi with Griezmann, but Messi has a goal contribution in every single match, I believe, and even if you just go further out for a bigger sample size outside the World Cup, it's he has an like for Argentina, he has like an over 60% goal contribution rate, and that doesn't take into account the floor, which comes from drawn fouls, shots, regardless to whether they're on target or not, and created chances for his teammates. You're just hoping one of his teammates connects, which it should regress to that because his assist totals are really well with Argentina outside this tournament. So he just needs one of his teammates to connect on the chances he's giving him.
What about the rest of the squad? It doesn't look like there's much to like here, and I'm guessing you'll be heading a little bit more towards France. But who else are you getting to?
I would think that Rodrigo De Paul is still a good play just because he takes indirect set shares, and he does jump up a little more so than like Enzo Fernandez does in the midfield. Like he'll jump up, and maybe even Alexi McAllister might drop back a little bit. Fernandez and McAllister are a little bit better on the defense, and you can't just everybody jump up against Croatia because they're going to hit you in the counter, and they're a really good team, especially in the midfield for outlet passing. But DePaul at least will jump up and take his chances. Right there, you're kind of just hoping that he gets like a shot on goal or finds the back of the net. But I think he has enough of a floor with some interceptions, tackles won, and his indirect sets on his share opposite of Angel Di Maria's side. You do run the risk with him, though. That's why I would say as a GPP play, you run the risk of him over fouling or even drawing a card. But Angel Di Maria, I do like for the floor. I think he only came in because he was needed to when they were starting to make a comeback in the previous match. I don't think if they felt comfortable enough, I don't think they would have brought him in at all. I think the point was to keep him nursing that injury so he can be a full go in this match. I mean, it's all hands on deck for them in this match. They do. I mean, the Netherlands was a tough opponent, right? But
yeah, isn't like the counter argument to that? It was all hands on deck last match as well.
Yeah, but I think that Di Maria wasn't fit to come in. Like
Right.
that's why he didn't start. But I don't. It's when the Netherlands came back and tied it up, then they needed Di Maria. I think if Argentina was only winning like 1-0 with 60 minutes or something, or at halftime, or if they were losing, he would have came in a lot sooner. But
Gotcha.
it's hard to tell. Like
that's a good point, right? Like maybe it was just the game script, and then Weghorst scoring in like the 90 whatever at the minute. Then all of a sudden you're like, all right, we don't need to rush this. Let's bring him on. So definitely, if he starts, I would be maybe a little bit worried about his minutes, but definitely seems like it's a possibility that he gets some run or comes in off the bench as well. Let's just shift to Showdown here. How are you approaching this game? Who are your favorite captain picks, and what kind of roster constructions are you looking at?
I think this game is going to be a very low scoring game, personally. But as far as the construction, I think I would lean 4-2 Argentina, and that might be the popular side. Usually, when there's no clear cut favorite, it's only a slight lean to a side. 3-3 would come in as the most popular build. I would lean the 4-2. I have no issues with putting in Emilio Martinez in the flex spot. I would not go as far as for the captain, because if he does see that enough shot volume, like 4 or 5 shots, I think he does allow one to go in. And for the captain side, you kind of don't. You want that goal scoring upside. Messi would be my preferred choice. That captain, he's going to come in highly owned. I think a nice captain's choice might be pivoting off of Messi to Di Maria, because he has a higher floor than anybody else on the team, barring any kind of injury or him going out.
Mm-hmm.
And then Julian Alvarez, he does need a goal or else you're done. But he needs a goal or you're done at that price, even in the flex spot. So if you're going to put him in the flex, why not put him in the captain? Because you are chasing that goal, and that could be the difference in what is projected to be a low-scoring game. From the Croatian side, Modric would be like a cash game captain choice, even if you favor Argentina, just because he has that floor.
Mm-hmm.
And the tackles won in the midfield, the interceptions, drawn foul rates. But I think it'd be interesting to go with like a Jovanovic, just because if Croatia were to concede early, Jovanovic is going to be leading the charge on the right side. I think more so than Borna Sosa just from the recent games that we've seen, and he can score on the opposite side and defensively. So
You haven't mentioned goalies at all. We've seen some huge performances from Livakovic last game. They seem to have some upside here because we've seen so many of these games go into extra time. You're kind of just collecting points at that point, especially with so many guys getting subbed off. I feel like that's viable in these showdown slates.
yeah, I guess that was when I got cut off because when I started the 2-3, I said even if you were going with Messi, I do like Jovanovic in net just because he's going to see shot volume. I think there's going to be a low scoring game. And the goalies, they project about the same. And if you look at the actual game scores after the games, most goalies, like the cheaper goalies, are outscoring, or on a per dollar rate, they're coming in higher value on a per dollar rate than any of the starters, because any of the favorite goalies, because their price tags, they give up a goal, then you're really struggling if they don't get the W, and they won't get the W on DraftKings if it goes to a shootout.
Right.
So I do like Jovanovic, and I do like him a bit more than Bono because, well, we'll get to that, but
yeah, sounds good. I think his ownership could be out of control too. So let's move it over to the Moroccan French side. These lines: France minus 185, Morocco plus 600. This game, I think we're expecting Morocco to park the bus and counterattack. I don't think that's pretty much what they've been doing all game or all World Cup long. So it's really just a question of whether or not France can break them down. I think we'd all expect them to. We do have some good values though here. It looks like Ashraf Hakimi still solid value, 12 points, and probably won't get a ton of ownership. Bonu 3,800, 2.3 value, and Atiat Allah 2,800, 2.38 value. So all those are shaping up as some of the better value plays in the slate. How much Morocco are you going to be getting to given some of these values?
I think in GPP, 2 to 3 is viable. You can mix and match either 2 to 3 man stacks from Morocco or from Croatia, and it will serve the same purpose as far as getting you like those goal hunters from the opposite sides. But for me, I really like Atiat, the defender, and he projects well. He projected the same as he did the previous match we had him, and I think he got like an assist or something. So that was he actually smashed that price, and I would have thought it would have come up a little bit, but it hasn't, probably because the matchup. But I do like him. He's defensively, he doesn't have to go against Mbappe, which is my concern for Hakimi. The teammates might know each other well from Paris Saint-Germain, but I think it's going to be a tough battle for Hakimi. As he can get his one tackles, he's a very good defender, but I don't think he's as fast and physical as Kyle Walker was. So I don't think that Mbappe is going to get shut out again.
Mm-hmm.
So I would go with Atiat just because it's a min price. For DraftKings, it's a better floor than getting than punting a center back, which right. Really needs a clean sheet for that floor.
Right.
And then
what about? Oh, go ahead.
The only other person for me for Morocco would probably be I have no issues with Buffo again, just because
that's what I was going to ask you about, because like these are probably still going to be fairly low owned striker plays, 4,900 forward plays. And Nesri scored last game. Buffal as well. I think they both got subbed off fairly early just because of the game script. But there's always exists the possibility for that counter-attacking goal. It sounds like you're not going to have very much.
No, I mean, at Nasri, I would say is similar to the Petrovic or Kramatic play from Croatia, where if you want to pay up to get higher upside defenders, then take your punt there with a Nasri or. But I think that Petrovic and Kramatic as a one-off in the forward spot is if not the same price tag or lower, and it offers to me more upside than a Nasri, just because Croatia is going to play this like they're going to be back and forth with time of possession, with scoring chances. They don't have to sit back and wait for a penalty. They are good enough to match chances for chances. Whereas I think, like you said before, Morocco is going to take limited chances, and limited chances is very tough for the forwards unless they connect on their one or two shots. Nasri had one shot and
They
scored.
have been lucky to do that so far, and so I'm guessing that luck is going to run out at some point, but you never know. French side, Theo Hernandez, 6,300, massive price increase here. Really as well, though, from your projections. By the way, before we get into the French side, make sure to sign up for Jovanni's projections, $8.95 per week, but use the link below. You can get them for free for 3 days. So you can get this covered, and I'm sure Jovanni will have the World Cup final up pretty quick as soon as DraftKings does it. So if you sign up like tomorrow morning, maybe you can probably get like 3 days of soccer, or just wait for the EPL to come back in about 2 weeks. I got my Liverpool Pride to the Merseyside hoodie. I'm ready. Tired of I'm over it. I'm over that loss on Saturday. All right, let's get into it. Sorry about that. Theo Hernandez, 63, 2.35. Griezmann probably going to feature heavily. It seems like I'm guessing he will be the most owned player on the slate at that price point, or maybe close to it. I like Rabiot as well as Tchouaméni. Tchouaméni scored last game. One of the reasons I kind of like them is just because, like, in these scenarios where the other team's parking the bus, it allows the more defensive-minded midfielders to get up the pitch a little bit and have some more offensive opportunities. So I'm probably going to be sneaking some of those guys into my lineups. But I'll throw it over to you. Like, what are you doing with France? Mbappe is expensive and has some opportunity cost there, but he's going to be playing full 90. Give me your France rundown, Giovanni.
Yeah, France is my favorite side, and I have no issues with 3 to 4. I mean, even without the keeper, if you had the money for Hugo Lloris, then that would make it a 5-man stack. But Mbappe, obviously, Antoine Griezmann is actually going to be my highest owned. I think he's still he's too cheap. He has the set pieces. He hasn't found the back of the net, but it's not really him taking a lot of shots, but the creative chances are there. He just needs his teammates to finish, and his teammates have been finishing for him. So his one of the highest floors he has, and he does have the upside of any goal contribution. As far as Olivier Giroud and Ousmane Dembele, it's pretty much the same for me as when I run the ownerships. Whichever one comes in lower owned, that'll be the one I'll try to flip flop. Like if one comes 30, 15% or something like that, I'll try to just flip it and go 30, 15 the other way with them, because they're both scoring dependent, but Dembele has a higher floor. He has drawn foul rates. He has the crossing volume, and he delivers not as much as Mbappe, but he delivers as well to Giroud. So who's to say that an assist, if Giroud connects, is not coming from Dembele instead of Mbappe? Keep in mind they might put some extra help on Mbappe's side and try to shut him out, just like England did. And like I said, Hakimi is not, in my opinion, is not as good. He's a great offensive player and a good defender, but Kyle Walker, to me, just defensive wise with the speed, is more elite. So he was able to do it a little one-on-one with Mbappe for majority of the game. But Hakimi, I think, will need some help dropping back. That'll force Mbappe to sometimes drop it back to Theo Hernandez, or even play it in the middle and then try to get one of those comebacks from Griezmann. So I do like Mbappe just because he is a scoring threat. He'll take the penalties for them, I'm sure, given that he's trying to get that golden boot now. And his shot volume is just always there. And if Morocco sits back, he can shoot from anywhere. So regardless of whether, if you're going to plug the middle and make it tough for Giroud to get open, then Mbappe or Dembele can both shoot from the outside. As far as the midfield, like you said, Tchouaméni or Rabiot, one off, one or the other for me. So I'll just mix and match, try to get like a little bit over whatever the ownership comes in, and just say like set a rule.
Slight preference for Rabio. I think he's more involved in the offense, right?
Yeah, and his size just he actually connects
corners.
Yeah, he connects on more headers or attempted headers than even Rafael Varane or Ukano does from the defensive side. So that's, I mean, at that price, you don't need that many shares, and it would be a huge leverage play if he does find the back of the net.
Cool. I like it. I think we're on the same page there. Give me your favorite captain play and your favorite contrarian captain play from this game, obviously.
Favorite contrarian captain play would have to be Hakimi, because if he shuts down Mbappe, at least he'll hit that upside of tackles won and interceptions, and then he does sit on the set shares with Hakim Ziyech. And my favorite captain is Antoine Griezmann, because I think Mbappe will come in with the highest owned despite the price, and then Griezmann and Giroud will come in similar, if not Griezmann a little bit higher, but his significantly higher floor makes me like him a lot more than Giroud and then Mbappe.
All right. Favorite roster construction?
It's going to be 5-1 France. I think 4-2 and 5-1 France is going to be the more popular, but I do think it's going to be a lot of people playing the 4-2 of Morocco, which including Bono in the flex, and it's warranted because he's been amazing. But I think his run comes to an end, and I'm gonna fade Bono in the flex and 5-1 France.
All right, we're gonna get out of here, but before we do, give me your top 3 owned players on the 2-game slate.
Antoine Griezmann, Theo Hernandez, and Lionel Messi.
That's going to do it. By the way, are you pulling for anyone at this stage of the World Cup? Morocco, Argentina?
Well, I do have the future still from for Argentina. That's live, and I have a pool, like one of those DraftKings pools, where the final I have as in one of the lineups. The finals I have is Argentina beating France. So I think because of the Morocco upset and the Croatia upset, I can't get first, but it's still second or third pays a good amount of money. I think it's like, even if you split it, it's still like over $2,000 each. So
nice. That's awesome, man. I'll be pulling for it. As long as Croatia doesn't make it to the final, I'll be happy. That's all I want.
Yeah, me too.
Like a Lionel Messi win. And, if Morocco makes it, it'd be pretty amazing and pretty entertaining, even though they do not play the most entertaining style of football. But thank you so much for joining us today. Don't forget to check out our sponsor, No House Advantage, by clicking that link below and get yourself free $50 and take advantage of that overlay. And come on in the Discord and say hi to Jovanni once you get signed up for that soccer package. $3.95 or 3 days free, $8.95 per week after that. That's going to do it for us, Jovanni. We'll see you for the World Cup final. I think we'll probably release the next one on Thursday.
Thank you, guys.